referred to collectively as the Anishinabeg. It is through the connection of the Anishinabeg with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Declaration of pecuniary interest at that time or now, whatever you wish. Adoption of the minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of regular council meeting held on November 3rd, 2025 be received and approved. Do we have a mover for this? Councillor Langus. Thank you. Second, Councillor Myers. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the minutes from the following township committees be accepted and approved. St. Clair River Trail Committee, September 24th, 25. Moore Museum Advisory Committee, October 1st, 25. And Somber Museum Board, October 28th, 2025. We have a mover for this. Councillor Brown. Second, Councillor Foster. Anybody have any questions on any of these? Oh. Go ahead.
I believe it was in that minutes of the Sombra Museum. Have they had any results from the drainage work they did around the building? Has that proved successful? Do we know?
Councillor?
Through your worship, I don't know if we've got a significant rainfall enough to confirm whether or not it's quite fixed the issue. I know the work's completed, and I know while Rotier Excavation was in there installing the drain tile, that the consultant company came in and put probes in the cement to be able to monitor whether or not the buildings continue to shift on the ground. The work's completed.
Yeah, thank you.
This would be nice when it's done. That's been going on for a lot of years, holy. All right, anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the traffic safety concern correspondence be received. You have a mover to receive this? Councillor Langstaff. Second. Councillor Langus. Anybody have any questions on this? Sir? Councillor Brown?
Can we refer this to staff and ask them about these speed humps? I know major cities have started to use speed humps, and I know St. Clair Boulevard in particular is like a straightaway that has excessive speed through there, and I'm just wondering, they don't have to be permanent, but even if we were to, you can purchase them that are made out of rubber or whatever and put them in as a trial basis to see what the, it's not a high speed bump that you would see in a parking lot, it's a lower profile that would just give them enough of a, they recommend them for speeds up to 50 kilometers.
Well, the next one that we have here, you can make that motion if you want.
Okay.
Okay, let's call the question on this one. All those in favor? Carried. Would anybody like to make a motion for the traffic concern on Bentinck and St. Clair Boulevard?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we refer it to staff and get a report back on, they don't call them their speed humps or speed that could be possibly used on a trial basis there on that street.
Okay, we have a seconder. Councillor Foster. Any questions? Kind of like that one's on, they have no frills where they hammer them into the ground. Mm-hmm. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Let's get that one. Be it resolved, the following information items be received. 7-1, Lambton County Council meeting highlights, November 5th, 25. And 7-2, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority meeting minutes highlights, October 23rd, 25. Have a mover for this one. Deputy Mayor. Seconder. Councillor Langus. Anybody have any questions on these ones? All those in favor? Carried. as well do another one, Jeffrey. Be it resolved that the extension of the Development Charge Bylaw 6 of 2021 report as submitted by Financial Analysis Charles Quenville be received, and that the provision specifying the expiry date of Development Charge Bylaw 6 of 21 be repealed, thereby extending the term of the bylaw from 5 years to 10 years, and that the clerk and mayor be authorized to execute the necessary amending bylaw. Do we have a mover for this one? Councillor Foster. Second. Councillor Langstaff. Any questions? Was a lot of words to get out there. Okay.
Through your worship, so is it my understanding that this is going to potentially freeze the developmental charges for the next 10 years? Or if they go up, is it going to be brought back to council?
I would say freeze. George, do you?
Yes, through the mayor. It'll still go up according to the consumer price index for the commercial consumer price index, but besides that, it'll stay the same. Only consumer price index increases.
How long, often does that happen, George? Every year or?
Every year,
Is it?
yeah. And it was based on the Toronto Consumer Price Index, but I think they've just changed the rules, so they'll be going with the London one, so it'll be more accurate.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Yeah, we'll do one more. Be it resolved that the taxation write-offs 2024 and 25 report as submitted by Senior Tax Clerk Debbie Churchill be received in accordance, with the provisions of sections 357 and 358 of the Municipal Act. The treasurer be authorized to write off property taxes for the year 2024 and 25 as identified in Appendix A, I'm sorry. Mover? Deputy Mayor, second. Councilor Langstaff, any questions? Always hate to hear write-offs, George. All those in favor? Carried. All right, seeing as we're 6:10. Megan Shannon, Enbridge Gas, 2027 Wabuano Pipeline and Compressor Replacement Project. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. So through your worship, good evening, Mayor Agar and members of St. Clair Township Council. My name is Megan Shannon, and I'm an advisor with Municipal and Stakeholder Engagement for Enbridge Gas Ontario. Joining me this evening is Ashley, our Senior Advisor with Business Development. We also have Christine online as the Project Manager and Chris Walters as the Advisor with Lands and Right-of-Way. And we are here to provide you with additional information on the Wabano Gathering System and Compressor Replacement Project. Thank you again for your feedback on the project at the previous council meeting, and I'm sorry again for the technical issues. And as was previously mentioned, Enbridge Gas is currently in the process of preparing a leave to construct LTC for short application for the project. And I'll now turn it over to Ashley to provide more information on the purpose of the project.
Thanks, Megan, and thank you to Mayor and Council today for having us back to provide an overview of the project. The project is required to maintain natural gas storage space capacity for the Wabano storage pool that is part of the overall Dawn Hub. We have a map of the Dawn Hub shown on the screen here, and you can see where the Wabano pool is located relative to the Dawn Operations Center. Enbridge identified the need to replace the compressor due to reliability and obsolescence concerns. Enbridge continually evaluates assets to identify hazards and to assess risks to ensure that they remain reliable and fit for service. The aging compressor was manufactured in 1976. Sourcing parts has become extremely difficult. In the event of a critical failure, this could result in an outage of one or more injection seasons. Enbridge Gas is proposing to install 1.1 kilometers of NPS 12-inch steel natural gas pipeline with a maximum operating pressure of 1350 PSI to replace the compressor. Additionally, the gathering system requires replacement. It's 70 years old and requires modifications to accommodate inline inspection to be in line with modern integrity practices. For context, the gathering system is a collection network of pipelines that connect individual wells used for withdrawal injection to the storage pool. This involves replacing 640 meters of gathering pipelines and selected well laterals. Next slide. Oh, perfect. Consultation is a key component of the environmental assessment process that Enbridge completed as part of this project. The consultations included municipalities, landowners, and government agencies, and our longstanding practice of meaningful engagement with Indigenous communities as well. For the Wabano project, Enbridge Gas hired Stantec, a third-party environmental consultant, to complete a detailed review of preferred route and the alternate route, which are shown here on the map. The preferred route in red and the alternate route in yellow. And that environmental assessment is to assess the environmental and socioeconomic impacts and to conduct the consultation program on behalf of Enbridge. In January of this year, the letters were sent to Indigenous communities, federal and provincial agencies, municipal personnel, and elected officials. Subsequently, a notice of upcoming project was mailed out to landowners within the study area in February with maps and route descriptions. The study area is shown in the black dashed boundary around the site. Notice of commencement letters were sent to Indigenous communities in March and federal and provincial agencies, municipal personnel and elected officials on April 1st of 2025. Notices were mailed out to landowners in the study area on April 4th of 2025. The notice of study commencement and virtual info session was published on April 3rd in the newspaper Sarnia this week. The virtual information session was hosted online and accessible for 2 weeks from April 14th to April 28th, and the comment period closed on May 14th of 2025. The virtual information session provided info on the two routes, the regulatory and environmental assessment process, the potential impacts and mitigation and next steps, as well as a project email address. Phone numbers were provided. Attendees were asked to provide questions and leave comments. And finally, on June 10th, an in-person open house was hosted to support Indigenous consultations. Both Enbridge Gas and Stantec staff were present to answer the questions and concerns. So there were two routes considered for the 12-inch pipeline proposed. The preferred route would begin at the existing Wabano Pool Station. It's shown on the map, sort of in the middle there. The total length of this route is 1.1 kilometers, as mentioned, and will be constructed through pre-existing rights granted through the franchise agreement. No easements on private land would be required for that route. And the alternate route is proposed, it's 910 meters. It was on the previous map. This route would have the same start and end point as the preferred route, but it would instead be traversing productive agriculture land and would require easements. Additional restoration and cleanup costs due to it being on privately owned land. And furthermore, for routine inspection and maintenance activities to operate the pipeline would cause further disruption to the property. Due to the size of the pipeline being 12-inch, road allowance is feasible and preferred. The two routes are 160 meters difference in length. I think, okay, yes. A number of considerations are made when selecting a final preferred route. Where possible, we look for a route that uses existing utility easements, road allowances, and follows property boundaries to minimize creating new disruption on affected properties and is the shortest possible route to minimize community disruption. It should also minimize impacts on adjacent land use and agriculture land. We also take into consideration feedback received from Indigenous communities, stakeholders, and the public. For route selection, Stantec also took into consideration the Township of St. Clair official plan, which states that natural gas utilities should avoid being on high-capability agriculture land. Our pipelines are designed to meet rigorous standards. Based on CSA Z662 and TSA, The proposed pipeline will require an integrity management program, which may include, but is not limited to, routine inline inspection activities, leak and depth of cover surveys. Conducting inspections will allow Enbridge Gas to proactively mitigate safety risks and ensure public safety is prioritized. The preliminary preferred route will have a minimum depth of 1.2 meters. Class locations for pipelines as per CSA Z662, which is based on a number of dwellings or population density or presence of places of public assembly. According to the standard, this location is consistent with a Class 1 location, where there is 10 or fewer dwellings, or, to be extra conservative, could be considered as a Class 2. The proposed pipeline will be designed to exceed these standards and will be conducive of a Class 3 location suitable for a location with greater than 46 dwellings. Additionally, the pipeline will be operating at less than 40% specified minimum yield strength, or SMICE. The SMICE is the minimum force at which a steel pipe is permanently deformed. Per the TSSA, for oil and gas pipelines operating at a stress level below 40% SMICE, no additional setbacks are required beyond the limits of the easement. The pipeline will also be hydrostatically pressure tested according to the code. Typically, our proposed alignment within road allowance, we go by our internal design standards and township requirements. We can work with the Township of St. Clair as well as adjacent landowners to select an appropriate alignment within the road allowance that complies with the design standards. And the pipeline will be constructed using trenchless methodology, known as horizontal directionally drill, which will limit surface disturbances. As Megan mentioned, the leave to construct application will be submitted on November 24th to the Ontario Energy Board. And field studies are expected to commence next month for stage 2 archaeology studies and geotechnical studies. Construction is proposed to start in August of 2026.
So the last couple of slides, your voice as a council can make a difference in the project being approved, and we're seeking council's consideration of a letter of support from council for the project, which we included as part of the OEB application. A letter of support will help demonstrate support and need, and previous letters of support for other projects, including the 2023 Don Corona project, have made a difference. And our commitment to this project is to work with township staff on all permits and requirements for the project and keep council and the project informed with updates as the project progresses. So for example, project milestones. And we want to emphasize that we are committed to ongoing engagement and consultation with interested and potentially affected parties through detailed design and construction, and will continue to respond to stakeholder concerns throughout the life of the project. So with that, we thank you for your time and consideration, and we truly value our partnerships in all the communities that we serve, and we look forward to working with you on this project. And with that, we'll answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Megan. Council, have any questions? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I just wondering, if this approval you're looking for tonight, does that include identifying the preferred route?
What we're hoping to achieve tonight is support from the council. Typically, that could come in the format of a letter of support. We did select the preliminary preferred route around the time that the comment period closed May 14th. And we selected the preliminary preferred route around that time and carried that forward and finalized the environmental report, which will be provided in the LTC application we're submitting on the 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Counselor?
Your Worship, how common is it for you guys to install a pipe of this capacity, this size, in someone's front yard along the road allowance?
So fairly common. This is a transmission pipeline of a standard design pressure to 1440. We have a lot of pipelines throughout the province and in urban areas at the same pressure. And as I mentioned, with the class locations and the pipeline design standards, we make sure to maintain that those safety considerations where we're installing in urban settings or near a dwelling or residence.
it. So, have you worked with all the neighbors around and, like, for the routes and taken their advice and,
And we'll have Chris speak to that.
okay, I have a few questions, so.
Through your worship, yeah, we've been in communication with the directly affected landowners, and we're working with them to mitigate any of their concerns that they have with the temporary land use that we would require on their properties to make sure that we mitigate any impacts to their properties.
Okay. I've had a few other concerns call me for, there's a drains that runs along there. Will you affect that at all?
Yes, we're working on construction, detailed construction drawings at this time, and we've been in discussion with landowners, and we understand that it's important to maintain drainage throughout the construction process, and we're working with landowners to come up with a proposal that is not going to impact the drainage to their private farmlands.
So if any construction issues arise and it does anything to their drains, that will be replaced?
Yeah, we have an obligation to repair any damages that are caused on private lands and replace the land as reasonably possible the way it was before we accessed the property.
You're doing good at answering these questions here. I have only a couple more. So there's obviously a lot of utilities that run along there too. Are you gonna make sure they're repaired, and if anything happens right away, you get it taken care of?
Yeah, I can take this one. So as part of the design, we typically get topographical surveys, and then we also get subsurface utility engineering surveys as well, so that we can select an alignment that avoids conflicting with other utilities in the area.
Okay. And for construction, for the roads, how long do you plan on disruption in the roads for the neighborhoods? Because the last pipeline that went through was quite an issue everywhere, so.
So I don't know if Christine is on the line and able to speak to this. I will say that the temporary land use will assist in limiting the disruption to, like for road closures. But maybe if Christine, she is the project manager, she might be in the best position to answer this one. Is she on? All right, well, we have been in contact with the Township of St. Clair regarding road closures. We will make sure we get all the required road occupancy permits. And as for duration, I can take that back and provide a response once I talk to the construction team.
Because it's never good for people to not be able to have access to their land. so.
100%.
Yeah, that has to be a big issue. That's it for me, I guess. Does anybody else have anything else? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to give Enbridge a letter of support for this project.
Okay, have a seconder for that? Councilor Brown?
I got a
questions?
couple of questions, though, I'd like to ask, too.
Okay.
You stated in your presentation the majority, like, when you say the horizontal drilling method, so you're not going to do open excavation along, is it the majority of the route, or only how much would that cover, do you know?
Like definitely tie in pits at the endpoints and any road crossings, but the majority of the route will be HDD, horizontal directional drill. And we typically try to limit the open cut sections on the pipeline. We are still in the very preliminary phases of this part of this phase of the project's design, so we don't have the open cut areas marked on a drawing yet, but we could definitely provide those.
That would minimize the disruption to the landscape in other areas of concern that people might have, okay. And I want to ask our staff, I guess, what is our township road allowance on that section of Oil Springs line there?
Through your worship, off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly, but again, it's not uncommon to have, obviously, gas pipeline through the right-of-way. There should be lots of room in the boulevard relative to bigger centers where it's quite busy in the boulevard. I don't think it's overly busy in that part of the boulevard. My other comment would be, there is a positive aspect to having it in the road allowance versus cross-country through farmers' fields, and that is the safety of contacting that pipeline. You're much safer in the road allowance than you are running through a farmer's field. And you'll have a better chance of locating that before construction than you will any construction activity in a field. So that would be my other comment.
Thank you, that's it for me.
Okay, anybody else? Well, seeing none, we have a motion. Call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's no other comment to this?
Let's,
Like from a, I'm sorry, I'm not sure the process here.
it's,
I've sent some information in and I'm just curious on that process. I'm a little astounded that I've not been given a chance to speak here.
well, it's not a public meeting, as you know, right now, and you never asked to speak, but
I believe
the,
my comments were in the agenda.
yeah, the comments were sent out, were they not? Clerk? Everybody had a chance to read the comments? Okay. It's all been read. Thank you. Thank you. 620, a VogTech best proposal request for municipal support. Are they online, Terry Ann?
No.
Gabriel, are you on?
Yes, I am on, and hopefully my camera will turn on.
Well, we don't see your face, but we can hear you, so.
Okay. 1 second, please. Trying to fix that. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, sir,
Yes.
welcome and take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my presentation here. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So I sent you, I sent to the city clerk what we intended to present today. So essentially, we have 2 projects that we would like to do at St. Clair Township, which is part of the bigger other clean energy project that we intending to do at that location. One of the project is battery and energy storage. Essentially, what I will present to you today is an introduction project, some product information, community benefit, timeline, and I will be open to answer all questions you may have. Okay, so why the project? We want to do the project there. So essentially, the project at that location is an exceptional location in terms of availability of transmission line, the industry in the area. And we believe that it's a fantastic location for the project, for this type of project. The project per se, like I said, is two types. So we have one battery and energy storage, and we have a gas technology. For the battery and energy storage, the project name is Clair Battery and Energy Storage. The nameplate capacity is 195 megawatt over 8 hours, which is required by the IESO. The technology is lithium-ion battery energy storage. The project will be developed by Voctec, by Clair Energy Storage LP, which is an affiliate of Voctec Renewables, which does a different project in the clean energy space. So why here? We have the land in that location. We have access to land, an industrial land. We have IESO, which is forecasting a need for 4,000 megawatt by 2030 in that location in the southeast West Ontario. The project will provide energy when it's needed, improving the capacity of Ontario grid. The project is not an agricultural land, and there is a proximity to existing power line and transmission line for interconnectivity. The terrain, the land is flat. So essentially the best technology, the battery energy storage, what it does, you take the energy from the grid when it's more affordable, and you discharge the grid when the grid needs it the most. The battery energy storage provides some certain flexibility in terms of balancing the grid. We're doing this project primarily in response to the LT2 procurement. The benefit for the community in St. Clair is on average, a project of that nature yield tax revenue. It will provide the opportunity to generate power at a lower CO2 footprint, will provide substantial saving to Ontario ratepayer over the 20-year contract the IESO is proposing to have. Will create direct and indirect employment during the construction and afterward. In terms of the schedule, the next step for us is the schedule is, well, IESO will issue the award in about June 2026. And we will also work on the environmental permit after that or concurrently. And we'll start the construction in about 2028. And the operation will begin, the target is by 2030. So the next step for us is to seek and obtain a municipal support resolution as required by IESO. We will engage with local First Nation and community stakeholders. We have meetings scheduled with the community this Friday at the Moore Sports Complex. At that moment, we'll receive input on the development of the project. And after that, we'll continue further consultation of the different community stakeholders. We now invite you for questions regarding the best project. If you prefer, I maybe present the other project, which is the natural gas-based technology.
Yeah,
I am available.
finish your presentation, do them all what you're planning, and then we'll do questions afterwards, okay?
Perfect. The second project we have is power plant still, but gas-related technology. So we'll be on the same land. The nameplate capacity for the gas technology is 250 megawatt. The technology is natural gas. The idea is to have a natural gas simple cycle. And the connection point will be near from the facility. Will connect to transmission line there. Already explained why we want to do the project in that location. No need to repeat myself. And I'm also assuming that you have the presentation in advance. So natural gas is a smart low carbon option for power generation, involve gas combustion. It's a reliable solution for high capacity to the grid. Can provide fast response when the system need electricity, and it's pretty high efficient. In terms of the community benefit, it's pretty much similar to what I mentioned for the battery energy storage. So these projects are large-scale projects, increase municipal revenue, create jobs, and create stability to the grid, encourage company to implement to develop further activity in the area because of the availability of power. Similar to the battery project, we seek and we would like to obtain municipal support resolution, which is required by the ISO. Subsequently, we will also continue consultation with local stakeholders, including the First Nation and other community stakeholders. In that regard, we have a meeting scheduled this Friday to meet the community, and we'll continue discussion afterward as well. In terms of the schedule, June 2026, we'll have the award by ISO. We'll obtain the permit between 2026 and 2027. The site construction likely to start in July 2027. I know Enbridge will have a different schedule in that level. I believe Enbridge, the construction schedule is more toward 2028 to build additional capacity to bring natural gas on site. We're targeting operation in early 2029. Una, I invite question or comments.
Okay, thank you. It's always great to see new business come around, but I thought it was supposed to be hydrogen. The first reports came back, it was hydrogen. Have you switched to gas now? That's the way you're going to go?
Yes, we have hydrogen as a project, but we don't need a municipal resolution for the hydrogen project. So that's why we're planning to address the council in due course for the hydrogen project. But at the present moment, we don't need a municipal support resolution in the immediate moment.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
something which will come later.
Okay. And that was relayed to you, you have to do your public information night first, basically before we give any public, anything like that. As I'm reading through your your progress here, I see up there that's slated to go into Sarnia. Well, in case you haven't known by now, this is St. Clair Township, so you should maybe go through all your papers and make sure it says St. Clair, not Sarnia. And now I'm going to give my council a chance to ask their questions, and then when they're done, I have another one. So, any questions, Councillor?
Yes, through the mayor. I noticed in your report, you said that when you're referring to the land uses, or what is the current land use of the project, or of the lands right now?
In the municipal plan for that location is industrial use, at least for the portion we're planning to use for the project. My understanding is right now, because the project are not done yet, it's not nothing's happening yet. It might be used for some sort of agriculture need, just to keep the land busy. But the zoning there is industrial for the portion we want to do the project.
Yes, I understand that, but I mean, in here, it says that agricultural use isn't being taken out of production, but we only have two types of land here in our township other than residential. It's either covered in trees or it's used for agriculture in the rural areas. And that land has been traditionally used for agriculture for as long as I've been around.
I understand that, but the city vision for that land is to have it used as an industrial land, and it's already zoned as an industrial land, at least the portion we're going to use for the project.
I understand the zoning, just your comments were that it is not taking agricultural land out of production, and it is in my eyes. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Next, Councillor.
I was just wondering, if you are looking for a letter of support, what is the deadline that you need this letter for?
I would say as soon as possible. So we're meeting the resident next Friday. My understanding is the next council meeting is on December 3rd. So ideally we have it today, but my understanding is we need to meet the resident first, so that we can report back to the council about comments by the residents. So far, we received some comments from residents. They are very positive. The residents are very excited for industrialization of the land. They've been hoping for this type of project. And so those are the comments we received by email, because we already noticed the resident about the project, and they're responding. So we expect the resident to be extremely happy about the project. So you asked me the question, when we're expecting, we hope ideally you provide support today, but we understand the process and expecting at the latest that we will obtain the letter of support by December 3rd.
So my second part of this question is, you say that you have a meeting set up with the residents, and I have not heard anything about that. So I'm curious as to how you got that word out to get emails already from people. Have you contacted people that live locally around that area? Is that what you've?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. That's how we did. Yeah.
And then how did you advertise for people to go to the complex to listen to your public meeting?
So we essentially send notice there to resident, so they receive a notice from us, and so that's the primary way. We also, my understanding, we also have this meeting. My understanding is the city clerk will post on the city website the fact that we have a meeting with resident. It will be done tomorrow, and it will be another channel to reach out to resident.
Okay, thank you.
So we have this meeting. We have the city website, and this meeting with councilor that we're having now. So those are the three channels, and the mail we send to the resident, to each individual address around the location of the project.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Councilor Brown?
Thank you, Mayor Agar. I wanted to ask, what other energy projects, power projects have you created in our province, or is this your first?
Okay, so this is a special vehicle entity for the project. The partner and the people associated with the project have done many projects and are very experienced in this type of project. I don't necessarily have a list of projects. I can report back on this to the council, but they've done many of these type of projects before.
So basically, Vogue Tech this is the first independent project they're proposing, and you have a bunch of shareholders or investors that are willing to back this. My other thought along this, are you doing the best portion? Is that independent of the gas-fired generation, or are they simultaneously?
Yes, so they're independent. So it'll be two proposals. So both, who like both to be accepted, but if one is accepted and the other one is not, so be it. So we will bid with both projects. That's the intention.
Yeah, I think we need to hear more from your public open house prior to giving your blessing here from our council. That's it.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay, sir. I have my final output here. As part of our consideration for municipal support resolution, developers with other similar projects have entered into a memorandum of understanding with us to ensure site plans and any necessary mitigation requirements are committed to. And as part of these, there has been commitment to a community benefit agreement. Is this something you would be open to considering?
Absolutely. Ideally, we would like the specific to be provided to us in advance. But we're definitely open to this sort of memorandum of understanding.
Okay. So does anybody, well, go ahead. Yep.
Just a question for the mayor. Respectfully, if you want us to vote in support of something like this, then you need to be transparent with what sort of community relief fund you may be setting up. Because I sure as hell is not going to support a project without having a leg to stand on. A lot of these projects have commented that you'll pay $1,000 per megawatt per year. well, we hear every day that the cost of hydro is going up, but we're locked in for 20 years. That's not how I do business in my operation.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I hear that nobody's willing to make a motion tonight. Okay, so then after your public meeting, you can contact the clerk and come back and we'll talk again.
Excellent. I just respectfully submit to the council that the deadline for submission of the application to ISO is December 18.
Yep.
And we're a little bit on the verge there in terms of timeline.
It's kind of, you've stretched it out to the final minute here too, and so we need to have all the ducks in a row before anything is certain. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor, I think he mentioned our next meeting he thought was December 3rd. It's actually the 1st, right? Does he realize that our next meeting would be December 1st?
That's why I said contact the clerk.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Where was stuck out here, Jeffrey? All right, I guess we can go to councilors' reports now. Hmm? Oh, we got a third one. Holy, I'm really out of whack here. I'm really sorry, I forgot all about you. We were talking at the start, dude.
No worries.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And I can probably talk loud enough that you all can hear me, but through the mayor, I've got some probably not so dry as what you've just gone through, but some kind of cool information that I want to share with you today. And maybe I'll start for a bit of context to make sure that you all understand who Community Futures is, that we are a nonprofit corporation. We've been in Sarnia-Lambton since 1988, and we receive operational funding from the federal government. So Community Futures is the program of Community Futures is delivered in 267 communities across Canada. And all of those communities are rural in nature. So you wouldn't find Community Futures in London or in Hamilton, rather in markets where the population is around the $100,000 mark. And our mandate is to drive community economic development at the rural and at the local level. In Western Ontario, and this becomes important in a minute or two, there are 20 Community Futures offices, and of all of our offices are required to deliver on a three-strand service mission. The first is to provide repayable loan funding of up to $300,000 to founders and entrepreneurs, new and existing businesses. And that can be anything from leasehold improvements, buying a building, buying equipment, operational funding, cash flow, whatever might be required there. We have pushed to date about $55 million out into the community across our 30 some odd years in operation. I have a $15 million investment fund now, 7 of which is out in the community with the remainder of it available to lend. So that's the first service stream. The second one is the provision of free of charge coaching and mentoring services to businesses across the whole life cycle of a business. From I've got a really cool idea that I want to see if it's got legs and I'd like to talk to someone about this business idea, through to business plan development, through to financial literacy, marketing support, and then at the other end, succession planning and exit strategies. And that's the one that becomes important to this presentation, but I'll come back to that. The third service strand is community economic development, and we do that through, we just announced last year, Community Futures grants to nonprofit organizations to support anything that happens at the community level, from summer markets through special events, through youth initiatives, those sorts of things. We also work very closely with Lambton College and also with the YMCA to support youth entrepreneurship initiatives. So all of those things form what Community Futures is all about. I'm going to bounce here and talk to you a little bit about one of our sister organizations in Simcoe County, because their work over the last 4 or 5 years has informed what we're about to roll out in January of next year. You'll see from the slide deck that was provided to you that Community Futures in Aurelia, about 4 or 5 years ago, got a bag of money from the Trillium Foundation to put together a program for business transitions, to support businesses who wanted to buy and businesses who wanted to sell, both with an environment that would allow them to either anonymously or to declare their intention to sell their business, and so someone else could look and see that that was available for sale. And they've had a great degree of success with that over the past years, and you'll see from your slide deck some of the news in that regard. But the numbers here I want to share with you are sort of those first 3 years when they were being funded by the Trillium Foundation, what they were able to accomplish. So you'll see here, or you'll see on the screen, the number of workshops or the workshop participants that they were able to bring in to talk about what has become, or what they then coined the BizLink project. And 832 one-on-one coaching sessions were done with 348 unique businesses. And here's the money shot number here. They were able, Community Futures Aurelia, through the BizLink program, was able to facilitate successfully the transition of 75 successful businesses, the sale of business A to person B, and that becomes really important from a community point of view because it keeps legacy businesses open and happening. And those successful transitions have included, Bob's Hardware was sold as Bob's Hardware and continued to operate as that, or Bob's Hardware was sold and became John's Hardware, or perhaps Bob's Hardware was liquidated successfully and those assets were liquidated. So when I talk about successful transitions, that's what I mean. These, when we talk about the success in Simcoe County and the numbers that they've suggested here, those 75 businesses in Simcoe County equate to about $74 million in money that was retained in Simcoe County by those businesses. In the local economy, that meant that 334.5 jobs were maintained by successfully transitioning these businesses. And if one presumes kind of the data is generally that a dollar turns 3 to 5 times if it stays in a community, you can see on the screen what keeping those businesses in Simcoe County has meant to that community. If we look at CFIB, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, and what they project for the future of business in this country. And as an aside, Small Business Week has just passed, and I've sat in on any number of presentations from the BDC to the provincial and federal governments talking about the fact that there's 2 things that they're most concerned about, and that's on their radar. From a business point of view. Number 1 is AI, and number 2 is business transitions. And it's, these numbers sort of bear that out. Currently, 60% of business owners are over the age of 50. And of the 1.2 odd million small and medium-sized businesses in Canada, 76% of owners of those businesses indicate that they plan to exit their business in the next 10 years. You can see on the screen what that equates to in terms of business assets, and only 1 in every 10 of those business owners has a plan, has an exit strategy, has a succession plan. So what we did is we extrapolated those numbers for Sarnia-Lambton. And if we look at SLEP's numbers, there's 3,850, close to 3,850 businesses in Sarnia-Lambton. And we know that about 98% of them have under 99 employees in them. So 3,400 and change small businesses in Sarnia-Lambton. And if we talk about 76% of those, if we look at those CFIB stats exiting in the next 10 years, 2,592 businesses plan to exit in the next 10 years. And if only 10% of them have a plan, it's 259 businesses with a plan right now. So if those numbers are startling or concerning, we believe they should be. We believe there's certainly a reason why everybody's are a bit ruffled from a government point of view when you start to think about the contribution that small business makes to our GDP in Canada and the impact that those have. So when we look at those numbers and we look at the support and service that is currently available in Sarnia and Lambton County to facilitate transitions, we're pretty excited to tell you that what Aurelia has done is to scale the BizLink program. And in January of next year, in the 20 CF offices in Western Ontario, we will be rolling out that program. What that means is you will be able to go to a website and see, maybe it'll say Bob's Hardware in Sarnia, perhaps it'll say a hardware store in Sarnia. But you'll be able to see businesses in Sarnia that are for sale, and folks that are outside of this community will be able to see businesses that are for sale. Our job, building on what I've told you about, is to provide the wraparound service to the person, to the business in Sarnia who is selling, to help them prepare to sell. Because typically what happens is folks come to us and say, I've just decided to retire next year, and I've decided to sell my business, without understanding that the way to maximize the lifetime that they've invested into their business is to think about succession planning 2 or 3 years out, to think about financial statements, to think about, preparing their business so it's got the kind of curb appeal that's going to allow them to maximally evaluate it and to sell it. That's where we come in to help them get ready to sell. And then for folks who are interested in purchasing that business, they pop up on our radar, and it gives us an opportunity to ensure that they're bona fide buyers and that they have the money indeed to do that. Certainly we can assist if they don't, but then it allows us to step back and connect them with their mutual agreement. So we're pretty excited about this, you guys. I'm going to go around and tell everybody about this and that this is happening. I hear from the BDC they're 12 to 18 months away from rolling out a similar program to this. Our whole raison d'etre is to support small business in Sarnia-Lambton, and this is a program that we're absolutely just revved about delivering. So confidential intake and matchmaking for buyers and sellers, customized marketing tools and business listings, the ability to connect the person who's selling with value and buying with valuators, with accountants, with lawyers who can give them support, access to financing if they need it. It's certainly not required through us. And then the sort of post-sales stuff that we do already with business planning and financial literacy and marketing, et cetera. So coming to this community in January of next year, BizLink, which will be offered through our Community Futures office in Sarnia and Lambton County, and certainly in Western Ontario. So through the mayor, I just wanted to make sure that you all know that this is happening. And I think probably secondarily to elevate attention to the fact that what's going to happen over the next 10 years to small business in terms of business transitions is something that you all should be concerned about from a municipal government. Upper and lower tier government needs to be aware of, and also to be aware that we're doing our best at the front line to help make that a positive thing in terms of keeping legacy businesses on Main Street and not seeing businesses disappear. So I thank you so much for your time and for making time for me today. If y'all have any questions, I would be delighted to answer them.
Thank you for the presentation. That was very good. You're way up on the bit. If you need anything from our esteemed office down here, just let us know. So is there any questions from anybody?
Thanks for that. It's really good to hear such a positive thing, especially at a time now when small businesses are having problems with tariffs and keeping their doors open. So it'll be a good way for people to, like you said, enter and exit from their businesses. Is there, like you said, financial support, like in terms of, like I know the BDC helped my husband when he first started his business 30 years ago, and they had a program that the first year of his business, he could continue on unemployment insurance while he got his up-and-coming job going. And, so that helped him tremendously. But is there any financial support? Because I know that's not possible now.
At this point, ma'am, we haven't been told that there is, but my sense, given that BDC is leaning into creating a similar portal like this, and given that it's been pushed to the front as something that the government is concerned about, I would imagine that there will be other programming and other financial incentives that will roll out, but I am not aware at this point in time of anything like that. When it comes to the financing piece of it, we can support, we have a higher appetite for risk than most banks do because we're character lenders. We're more concerned about the character of the individual who's coming to us and giving them an opportunity. If it's a triangle and collateral is at the bottom for banks and character is the small thing at the top, it's the reverse for us. So as a character lender, we can go to $300,000, but it's not unusual for us to partner with BDC if someone needed 500 or 500,000 or they needed $1 million. We're quite happy to come in second or third position, all other things being equal on that, or to work with Sophie for those larger finance sort of pieces. But to your point, the extra little incentive pieces, my sense is that they'll come, but I'm not aware of any just now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, Sarah. Is this formally like being known as the business development? Is this where George Millay headed that up to?
It's not a name I'm familiar with, sir.
Okay.
I can tell you that we are corporately, our corporate name is the Sarnia-Lambton Business Development Corporation. Perhaps someone, a predecessor of mine has come before you with that moniker before. We rebranded a year or so ago as Community Futures Lambton because we were getting lost in the sea of SL acronyms, and we're having much more success building our brand and making people aware of the services we offer with Community Futures.
And you're located in Sarnia, is it on Christine, across from McDonald's? Do I have the right location?
Used to be. We used to be in the old Our Lady of Mercy Elementary School, and we sold that a year ago and bought a heritage building just south of London Road on the same side. So we're almost across from the TD Bank.
Okay.
And that's where we are now.
Okay, thank you.
Truly, I mean, my only ask of you is to be aware of who we are and what we do. And as you become aware of, in the course of your service to this community, Please encourage people who are thinking about succession planning to think about it in longer terms than 3 months and 6 months or next year, because, that's where the value to them and certainly that we can add to them in the process. Okay? Thank you so much.
All right, unless we have any more, Mr. Clerk. Councilors' reports. That will do that. Councilor Brown.
On November 11th, I attended the Remembrance Day service in Brigden and laid the wreath on behalf of the township. It was a nice day, a little chilly, but it was dry anyway, so. November 12th, attended the Corunna Fire Hall for the smoke and CO alarms presentation that were a nice donation from Enbridge. And on the 11th of November, attended the Operation Christmas Tree kickoff of Beans and Wieners at the Corunna Legion. And I was only going to have one other request is, I believe our street sweeper's been out there, but with all that wind we had late last week, I'm sure he's going to try and get all the roadways swept, even some that were probably previously swept. There's all kinds of leaves along the gutters, and I know we got the Corunna and Courtright parades coming up here in another couple weeks, so to make sure we catch them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Foster.
Thank you. On November 12th, I as well attended the Corunna Fire Hall. And then I've just been busy behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff for the Community Food Bank. We're thinking of changing that to the Corunna Community Food Bank. We just received a $2,000 donation from Operation Christmas, and we purchased new metal shelves because we are outgrowing our capacity for the food bank. So spent countless hours changing all the shelves and all the food. So I'm really thankful to the community for all the extra effort, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
November 5th, I attended County Council. On the 7th, I attended the Harvest Home dinner in Wilkesport, which was excellent, as usual, back there. On the 11th, I attended the Cenotaph in Wallaceburg for the Remembrance Day service, and it was very, very well attended. I was impressed with the amount of people that were at it. On the 12th, I also was in Corunna to recognize the donation from Enbridge. Yesterday, I helped collect food for the food bank in Port Lambton. And today, I had a committee of adjustment meeting here. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Langus.
So on the 5th, I was at the Moore Museum Board meeting, the 7th, the Harvest Home dinner, the 11th, the Remembrance Day ceremony in Corunna, which had a great turnout this year. The 12th, the Enbridge donation of CO2 and smoke alarms and Dummy Dave. The 110-pound mannequin that they can use for training. On the 13th, the Operation Christmas Tree Lunch. On the 15th, I was at our church hall for the soup, sweets, and specialties, which we served over 120 things of soup and yummies. On the 17th, that's today, the Rec Club Christmas Party meeting this morning and the Court of Adjustment meeting this afternoon. And here
Thank
tonight.
you. Councilor Myers.
On the 7th, I attended and assisted with the Harvest Home Dinner at Wilkesport Community Center. I want to thank everybody who supported that. That's a joint venture between the Wilkesport Community Center Board and the Wilkesport United Church. And it's always an exciting time in the community to see everybody out. On the November the 9th, I was back at Wilkesport Community Center again for our first Wilkesport Jamboree. That was well attended. Lots of people glad that there's been a year sabbatical since that's been in our community, and a number of people were back out and thanking me personally and the committee for working hard to bring that back and give seniors, it's mostly seniors and some not, but give them an activity to do in the community. And the upcoming Wilkesport Community Center again this Friday is Community Dance with Scott Maneri and the Barn Burners, Friday night, 8 till midnight, if anybody's interested. That's it.
Thank you. I heard it was a nice birthday party for you out there, too.
It was my
Did they give you a cake?
It was my birthday on Sunday, and they did give me a cake.
Happy birthday. Councilor Langstaff.
Thank you. I attended the Wilkesport United Church Harvest Home dinner. It was delicious. I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony in Brigden. And I will have you know that there was not only seniors at the Wilkesport Country Jamboree, there was younger fellows and members of council also there. And that is everything.
Very good. Well, busy times, right? It's county council. I attended. Sir John Moore, I went on Remembrance Day. The kids had an awesome ceremony in there, and it was nice to see. Corunna Legion Awards Banquet, Wilkesport Harvest Dinner, which was very good. Good job. Did you cook it? I didn't. I think you did. It tasted pretty good. Went to the Corunna Cenotaph on the 11th. Made my way to Brigden Legion. Went to the Enbridge Smoke donation and rescue Randy. I found his real name. He was pretty heavy, wasn't he? I couldn't even lift his leg. Went to the benefit lunch at the Legion, Operation Christmas Tree, which was well attended. Legion breakfast on the weekend. Had a good time there. And the Corunna and Port Lambton craft sales. It's a busy place. Thank you. So we'll carry on. We'll do the bylaws. Be it resolved that the following bylaws receive all three readings and thereby passed. 9.1, bylaw 42 of 25, amending bylaw to amend development charges by bylaw 6 of 21 to extend for 5 years. 9.2, bylaw 43 of 25, confirming. Do we have a mover for these bylaws? Councillor Myers, second. Councillor Brown. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. And upcoming meetings, regular meeting session 20, December 1st, 25 at 3. Regular meeting session 21, December 15th, 25 at 6. And regular meeting session 1, January 12th, 25 at 3 p.m. Wow. No, 2026. Oh, we lost a year there somewhere. I guess it wasn't only me. Be it resolved that the meeting do hereby adjourn. We have a mover. Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Langstaff. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.